So this is Chaz Felpo. It's quite interesting what's happened, you know, over a period of time. So he come for training. He completed his training for ride and drive. So, you know, mainly we do ride as well, ride and drive horses. So he was absolutely 100%. These were his, you know, he didn't have any problems, but his problems were he had caps. So that's in his mouth, he's pushing off like a child gets rid of their baby teeth. Well, it's the same with horses. But he had a lot of impact food, you know, in there. He had a lot of impact food. So there, just breaking off, that's a concrete mixer going up there, and he was better with that. It's making a noise as it turns round. He's travelling slow, the fella coming up, you know, being perfectly nice. But they've got to travel slow and fast, and they've got to be able to cope with anything, you know, that you might ask them or need them to do. So getting back to what I was saying, so he come, and it's 2 years ago. So I said to the lady, I said, look, he's got these caps. Also, he's learnt a great deal in a short length of time. He's been round this big roundabout, Tesco's roundabout, being ridden and being driven in an open bridle. So no blinkers at all. There's film there showing him doing it. So he went home, and the plan was to turn him out for the winter, let him mature up a bit. He was a little bit immature mentally. Physically he was nice, but mentally just a little bit, nothing much. He'd done everything, you couldn't ask more of him. But I said, you know, if he has the winter off, and then just pop him back for a fortnight or, you know, whatever, and we'll just put him back in, and then he can start his driving career. Well, as it happened, there was COVID was around at the time, so we had that to contend with. So it turned into a 2-year period, because I had a knee operation, which, you know, I was off for 6 months with that. But obviously with all this COVID and everything going on, you've got to get it done as soon as you know, there's a gap to do it, you know, to get your operation done. So, but he's come back an entirely different horse. Now, that's the problem. And if you can't, you know, if you can't figure out, which is what we're trying to do, is to figure out what's gone wrong. Because as I say, you should only be here for a fortnight to come back. But 2 years off, something's happened that's upset him. So it's a matter of building all his confidence up again. But, you know, if I don't know what's happened, sometimes if you know what's happened, if someone says to you, oh, I've done this, and you know, the stable door caught his tail, or I remember that, they was bringing horse out, and the stable door caught his tail, like flew in the wind and caught his tail, and he just caught the tip of it. Come on, up you go. Come on, darling, up you go. So anything behind it after that, the horse was a bit wary, you know, but we got that right. So obviously you get horses, ponies, but this is something I just can't work out. I'm supposed to have all this great knowledge. Well, they're the best thing for levelling you that ever was invented, horse, because, you know, when you think you know what you're doing, you realise how little you know. But I just cannot figure out. Now, some people will say, well, he's going round that roundabout, he's beautiful, but he's with a schoolmaster. So he takes a lot of solace from the horse by the side of him, yeah? Point one. When you put him in single, he go in, you put his shafts on, he don't care, he turn round on a sixpence. But he just doesn't have the confidence in himself that he had when he left. And basically, you know, it's heartbreaking really, because the lady said to me, like, you know, nothing's happened, all I've done is this. And there's nothing that she knows that's happened, but I would say something, somewhere along the line, is because he come back entirely different. He's lost his confidence now, he hadn't done anything now. I mean, understand what I mean. If he'd been driven in that time and he'd had an incident, you can understand it. Anything, you know, it doesn't have to be, that's what I'm trying to say. What I've learned over the years is, all can have a problem happen to it. I don't know, let's just say a balloon pops behind it, yeah? And that might affect it in lots of different ways. Doesn't mean to say it's going to affect it. Steady, baby. Doesn't mean to say, trot, babe. Trot. Now you see that bus there, and shy away from it, right? So you've got a look of it, trot. You've got a look of it, that bus that come up the inside. The buses are very, very good for teaching horses because you've got the reflection of the windows all down the side like a series of mirrors under the right circumstances, you know, light, etc. And how the sun's shining that particular day. But yeah, you get that. So as far as work goes, he's a good worker, he's fit, he looks well, he's strong, he's happy in the stable, he's eating, you know, he's on his food, he's enjoying it. It's just this lack of confidence is what I'm trying to say. It's definitely confidence, but what's caused him to lose it, I just don't know. But you know, you look, you'll see clips of films, little clips from the other films, or we refer to them, so you can look at them and learn. So I just don't know. I'm at my wit's end, trying to work it out what's wrong. I mean, we'll get there in the end, no question about it. But he should be here for, well, we thought a week to two, you know, somewhere 10 days, 2 weeks, we'd be done and going home, just to reintroduce it to everything. But something's happened to him in his little head, and it's, you know, it's upset him really. It upsets me because he was like very, very good. He was, well, as good as any other horse we do. Oh, he'd come round there, no blinkers on, round, you know, downtown, all over, no blinkers on his own, perfectly happy, round there, and being ridden by Katie, who does the riding thing. You know, right round them roundabouts, the films there to show, and he was as good as gold. And we're going to go in this lay-by here now, come up, so that I can just pull in here and let the traffic come past. And hopefully there's some big lorries amongst there. Because overtaking, oncoming is bad with him when he sees a big lorry coming. I mean, like when you're out on the road there, when he sees a big lorry coming. But here we'll just stop for a minute or two, 5 minutes, and give him a little, well, he don't need to rest, he's perfectly happy that way, but we hope to get some lorries coming out of town. So as I say, you know, it's an absolute, I just don't know. I mean, we had a horse a little while ago, the fella said, he said, I tried to do him myself, he said, and I've done everything he says, you know, and took advice and that. He said, I had a tyre behind him and the horse was pulling the tyre, he got a bit excited, the tyre bounced and bumped into the horse, then he ran away and he got caught up in a hedge and a fence. He said, and that's the only reason he stopped. He said, and thereafter, you know, I couldn't do anything with him. But we had him and we got him in and we trained him up and he was fine, but at least you knew what the problem was. You know, you had some idea of what's it now. And that was so see that lorry that just come down there, that truck come down towards us, but it's the road away, isn't it? The width for this road away. If we bring him out to it, he will shy away from it. But you know, this is where he's got to be. Now people say, oh yeah, but I never go in town. Well, lovely, but you'll meet something on a country lane which is 10 times worse. Be a grain lorry, near as big as this one, big Arctic grain lorries. You'll have someone taking straw off the fields, all that type of thing. You know, the dustbin men come around and get the you know, pick up the refuse. You've got those lorries. You've got people sucking out gullies. You've got tractors. You've got loads of small vans now, you know, small little tiny lorries, 3,500 weights, you know, 3-ton lorries, delivering food to people from Tesco's and Sainsbury's and all them. So there's a lot more of that traffic. So what we have to do is make them safe, confident and happy. So he don't feel safe. His confidence is building again, but it'll take some time to get it back where it was. And it's such a shame, you know, it is. But no one can help COVID. I mean, had that time off. But we've had horses before that have gone home. Like one lady we had, she sent the horse. It was with us a month. It had been downtown, hadn't completed his training, but her husband was ill. So she said, look, it's not a case, she said, of, you know, finances. It's a case that I'll have to look after him. So that went on for, I don't know, that might have been a bit longer. It could have been 2.5, 3 years. It was a long time anyway. So we brought the horse back. You know, her husband recovered and was fine, and we brought the horse back. And he was here for, well, he was here 4 weeks, I think, if I'm going on memory. He was here 4 weeks, and I think he come back and done 3. Well, we normally do them in 6. So he had a week to get back, and, you know, like, and then gradually build up his strength, and he was fine. And he hadn't lost anything that he'd learned. But this little fella, he knows what he learned, but his confidence is not there, and that's the problem. But everybody says, oh well, perhaps he got spooked by traffic. It don't have to be. It could be, as I said to you, a balloon popping. It could be, I don't know, something like another thing, you know, over the years, like hot air balloons. We've had horses that have been spooked by them. So you hear the gas go off when they want to lift the balloon up, and it comes over, throws a big shadow, they can see it, and it frightens them. Then you find you take them out, and I know this is going to sound ridiculous, but they won't like manholes. You know, something else that will upset them, which has nothing to do with hot air balloon, or traffic, or whatever it might be. But, you know, you can't believe it would be something that's down on the ground. I mean, you just couldn't believe that would be the case, surely. You know, you just think, no, that can't be like that. But, you know, it can be. But you can say, well, he's standing there, brilliant, he's marvellous. But I keep saying he's got a schoolmaster next to him, he's got Cloud. You know, he's solid rock. You know, he's standing there, he's got his own language. When I speak to him, in the words that he knows that other horses don't, Cloud will back up, come left, come right, he'll do anything I want him to do to help the horse along. But this dear little fella should be down here now doing the job 100%, you know, as you see on all the other films. But you'll see this actual pony going round Tesco's roundabout, we call it. It's one of the biggest roundabouts. I think it's got 3 or 4 lanes of traffic around it, and behavingly impeccable. So how can they say, you know, he went home to have the winter off because he'd learnt everything, he'd done everything, he put his heart and soul into it, he was safe, confident and happy. He had the problem with the caps on his teeth and getting food underneath them. So we made the decision and said to the lady, take him home, pop him back, and we'll just put him in for you before you start your driving. Then we had COVID. Well, COVID already existed, but then they stopped moving horses about, only for, you know, that to be done for going to the vets or something like that. So, unless it was essential. So, and then with me doing my knee, so that was it really. But, you know, a lot of people will say, well, he's absolutely lovely. If you took Cloud away now, I think he would lose a bit. But we will get him right, but it'll take time. But it's understanding him. But I know something has upset him, but I just don't know what it is. And the lady don't know what it is. She said, you know, she said to me all she done was long rein him off his nose, you know, no bit in his mouth, and like that. And it's just, you know, But that's it. That's why you can't write books about this job. I'm not looking for work. We've got more than we can possibly cope with. But it's a case you can't write a book, because if you could write a book, I wouldn't exist. You just write a book and it also turn out perfect, wouldn't it? You know, just follow the instructions. But the book never tells you what to do when it goes wrong, when you've got a situation. So, anyway. I've had people say to me, you know, maybe not, you know, just asking a question, and sometimes it's their opinion that you should do, you know, more at home. Well, that's just, this is where the problem is. You've got to be confident in yourself and your schoolmaster and whoever's with you, you know. Well, the only person with me is Ree, who's just, well, if I could work the camera, she'd be doing the driving, you know, so there's no, you know, he'd be up driving the horses, no trouble at all. So, you know, it's the team you got around you, your equipment's got to be right. You know, like this vehicle we're using today to do this, probably something like 10,000 to replace it. So you've got to have all that right, you've got to have your insurances right, everything proper to do it right. Come on, mate. Go on up, go, trot. So, there's a good boy. So we're leaving town now, and we're going to go, I suppose you'd call it a country lane in a minute. So out this way, going out of town, they've built a lot of new houses. But once we get past this roundabout up in front, we're back on the country lanes. Two-way traffic, then like a single line. With passing places really after that. So basically what I'm saying is when we do this, we don't come out here totally bloody ignorant and go, you know, it's taken many, many years, for me anyway, to be able to be, you know, not necessarily, over the years you develop, you know, and it improves. Hopefully you keep moving forward that way until you get a certain amount of knowledge, and then, like I've always said, you think you've got the knowledge, you've got none at all. You know, you're always learning. You never stop, even at my age, you know, you're still learning every day. But people say, I don't think they mean to be, they perhaps don't understand, perhaps, but you know, you cannot do this work. There is no substitute for the public highway that you can reproduce in an arena or any really facilities, unless you could afford to buy or have the use of a stretch of road like a, you know, I don't even know whether a runway would do the same thing, you know, disused runway, because you'd still need all the heavy traffic, etc. to see. Because if we're going to bring them into this environment, they've got to be safe, confident and happy doing it. So you can say, well, this pony looks happy. Well, he is happy, you know, he's happy because I'm here. And he's got his big schoolmaster mate by the side of him. Come on, Cloudy. So, you know, we don't just come out here like totally ignorant of the, you know, the possibilities of what can happen. We're very aware of what can happen on the public highway. Make no mistake about that. You put your life on the line when you're training horses. So you want to know what you're doing. You know, I don't mean that in a conceited thing anyway. I'm just saying that's how it's got to be. More importantly, you've got to be able to read these horses. You've got to be able to read their body language. You've got to know, right, now's the time we can... So, before we ever got here, going into town, we build it up slowly. But we build it up slowly in... not like people think. So what we might do, not saying we do this every time, but we'll transport them to the edge of town where there's a big trading estate, or several round there, and we'll park up there, unload, put them back together, you know, in a vehicle, and we'll stand them around. So they see big stuff coming past, and they gradually, oh yeah, that's not going to hurt me. They build up confidence like that. But every horse is an individual. I'll keep saying it, and it's obviously true that they are individuals. You cannot write a book. I know people do, and God bless them, and that's lovely, on how to do it. But they never tell you what to do when it goes wrong. But when you've got a problem, all they say is, well, you haven't followed, you know, the instructions properly. Well, that's, well, sorry to say, but a load of nonsense. Because they're all individuals, and their life experiences so far before you know, see, like now, he's moving away from that. The man's coming up there slowly, everything's good. And also the other thing is, you can't leave him too long before all the time you'll think to yourself, right. And we never have a plan as such. Often Rhea and I laugh about this because we say, right, what are we going to do today? And the first horse you take out, or pair or team, you might say, well, that's that, we've got to change that, we're going to do this, we're going to stay out with these now for a, you know, a much longer period. So it's very hard, you know, to plan what you're going to do. But you have to have some sort of goals to aim at in a period of time, etc. And we want to see this. Some horses, you'll find that they'll be going for, I don't know, could be a month, and then all of a sudden it all clicks and falls into place what you're asking of them, and you know, you find another one in that time they're already being and going and doing the job reasonably well, and it's just a case of polishing things. But they're all individuals, so I suppose that's what I'm trying to get over, is they've got to be safe, confident and happy. But you can't be, just think you can. People say to me, I've long reined him up the road, you know, and I think, well, that's a dangerous thing. To me, now I know loads of people do that, and God bless you, carry on. And there's plenty of horses out there I never broke them, doing perfectly well without my help, perfectly well. But long reining horse on a public highway is a dangerous thing. Why is it dangerous? Well, there's two things. You've only got to stumble, yeah, and you've lost control of that horse. Lost control of it. You stumble, the first thing you do is gob him in the mouth with his bit, right? Because you're trying to support yourself up from falling. So if you stumble, if he spooks and jumps at a bird coming out the edge, the first place he's going to go is out into the road, because he's blind by the blinkers he's wearing. Yeah. So I think it's a real dodgy place to do that, personally. But if you know, I'm not suggesting anyone does what I do, because there's a lot of years of experience, and I'm not being like, look how clever I am. There's nothing to do with that. You know, I'm just trying to say you've got to look at all angles. So when we take them down and we pull up by an industrial estate, we wouldn't dare even dream of long rein them in that situation. But what we might well do is stand them with another horse, or stand them singularly by the vehicle we've used to transport them, and let them just stand there and feel some lorries going past and get a little bit of vision, and then build on that. Another one, you might do that twice, 3 times, another one might be 10 times. But you get them to a level, and then you can move on. And then also the other thing you've got to do, every now and again we take 3 steps back and consolidate what the horse has already learned, probably the most important thing of all. Anyway, we're on our way home now, and they'll have a nice wash off, and we'll have a cup of tea, and the next ones will go out.